Right. Did you know? Did you know that over 90% of the top 100 best-selling productivity books were all written by men for men? And this is the Wake Up Women Leaders podcast. And we want to talk about how to stop working like a man and start producing like a woman, right? Honoring how women uniquely work differently because women are women and men are men. Our cycles exist. Our holistic approach to life exists. Our energy exists. Our intuition, right? There's our community of womanhood exists. There's so much more to consider outside of what your typical productivity book, program, boot camp, or whatever they're hawking at us now to try and tell us how we should work as people. Let's be more specific to talk about how people are productive. We're going to talk about how women are best productive, right, Nettie?
Oh my gosh. This is truly my favorite subject. We've talked about this in past episodes. At a point in 2024, I got so frustrated with just the topic at the time was health and how health research is done almost exclusively on men. And it's like designed for and by men. And I was like, you know what? If this is happening in healthcare, it's happening other places. And that's when I made the decision to really focus the coaching that I do and the research that I do on women to amplify more women's voices. And so this topic of like looking at what was designed and is sort of advertised for everyone, but designed for and by men. Victoria, until today, I had the hunch, I had the understanding in my mind that most of the books were written for and by men. But today, you found the article from Fast Company that said, actually, your hunch is right. And the truth is, yes, almost all the productivity books, the top sellers, the ones that you have on your bookshelf that you reach for because this is the best information out there, these were written for and by men, which is great for men. And yet it's the frustration of picking up that book and going, I get it. I'm supposed to block out 3 hours of deep work time. But how does that actually happen in reality? Because even if your life experience does not include motherhood, you are likely still going to be interrupted multiple times a day by friends, by family. And if you happen to be a working from home woman, you have a home office, then there's probably a whole bunch of folks in your community who are like, oh, I can give her a call. She's probably around. She could go to lunch with me. She could help with dad. She could do this. She could do that. And you also, and so even if you do not have little people at home, you probably still have a mental load of caregiving from a variety of people around you. And this has to be part of the conversation, among many other things that we're going to get into today. So I love this topic. In fact, we should probably break it up into multiple sessions. We'll do that. We'll go over more of this because it's so critical. It's so foundational to what we're talking about as women leaders and this need to wake up to what's going on around us, to what we're trying to create, to our goals. If we don't understand this productivity aspect and kind of what we're learning about and where we're getting our information, then we're going to consistently spin our wheels and feel frustrated and really exhausted at trying to fit into someone else's system.
Yeah. And I love it. The whole time we're talking about this, I'm thinking about walking through the pharmacy and seeing the beard thing of just for men. Listen, this one is just for women. I understand that for my brothers who need to color their beard or mustache, etc., that they need a special coloring like kit for just for men. Awesome. We women need productivity just for women. And in fact, so Nettie, she specializes in women. I don't actually. I serve men and women. And the brothers that I support are awesome guys in different divergent industries, real estate, finance, construction, all different. And the guys themselves will say men and women work differently. So ladies, let's just be clear about honoring how we are built, and building a business, a lifestyle, a schedule, and support networks and systems and automations that reflect our womanhood rather than try to warp ourselves into being the machine, and the producer, as much as producing in order to be as productive as possible. But all of that, before we get any further, who are you? I don't even know why you're talking to me. Who are you, Eddie?
Well, I already shared a little bit of my background, but if this is your first time coming on the show and you are going, who are these crazy ladies who are talking about productivity just for women? And for our guys out there, there may be aspects that you hear about this and you're like, oh, actually, I'd never considered that with regard to myself. So don't worry, there could be something in here you can pick up. I am an executive coach. I work with women leaders, either those that run other people's organizations or their own. And I've been doing this for over 2 decades. I love to help women create systems of success for themselves, ones that are designed uniquely how they are made and allow them to reach their goals. You can find me at sakarigroup.com. And with that, I will pass the mic over to you, Victoria.
I'll take it. Thank you. Sensei Victoria Whitfield, the world's first business Reiki master, go gadget brain. It's in there, trust me. So I'm the founder of strategicmeditation.com, where I help impact-driven entrepreneurs and leaders to get and stay grounded and clear in their mind, body, and business. So applying the Reiki philosophy to our productivity and our sales and marketing. That's what I've been doing for the last 16 years and counting. Again, you can find me at strategicmeditation.com. If you need help increasing your sales, right, or putting yourself out there, happy to support. Both of us are amazing at it. So Nettie is awesome more with the system structure, and executive side. For me, I'm more of the mindset, the inner work, the spiritual side, and influence. So with that, let's get into this, because Nettie and I were jamming on this topic, well, raving really, before we went live, we're just screaming and gnashing our teeth about the freaking productivity industry. All the books, yes, like as I look at my bookcase, gosh, 9 out of 10 of them written by amazing, magnificent men. And I am not a man.
Mm-hmm.
I am reminded of that every month still. I get to journey with the moon and be in tune with nature, with the flow of stuff, all kinds of things coming out of me. And we were talking about femininity and masculinity. Feminine productivity, for me personally, is rooted in reproduction, and fertility. So this involves, rather than it being linear, it's cyclical. Rather than it being homogeneous, it is intrinsic, it's individual, it's custom. Rather than it being mechanical, it is natural, right? So aligning more to, rather than it being isolated, it is holistic, right? And interdependent, interpersonal. this experience of being fertile. You talk to any two women who have ever been on their cycle around another woman, everybody, it's like a clock, like all the clocks in the room start ticking at the same time. All the women's bodies eventually, as they journey together, start to harmonize. What on earth is that? Why would women's bodies in natural wisdom begin to harmonize fertility? And what does that have to do with being exponentially more productive, right, as a communal source, as a tribe of fertility and production, as opposed to an individual being the biggest producer of everything? Women are wired in a communal way, and we want to look at how our interaction with each other and our community and our emotions, our energies, even not just the community, but even the environment around you, right? The plants, animals, air quality, etc., how all of the above affects your ability to produce. In the basic definition of what is productivity according to economics, you can look it up in an economics book. It says productivity equals output divided by input. We're here to say there's way more variables than just those three. Go ahead. Nettie, what's coming up for you?
Well, I would say the definition holds. Output divided by input. I think that's true. But I think that we need to look at how we come about it, how we come about that those inputs, and how we come about the outputs that we're like considering. And so we could actually get to a highly productive number, especially as women. I mean, women, if we go back to, we're talking about women's bodies are naturally creative. We are creating, like, this is our job, right? This is how our body was designed. So we are natural producers. We don't necessarily, and maybe why there's not necessarily like as many books on the shelf, because we're wired to produce. And perhaps it doesn't take the same amount of explanation in order to fall into the kinds of things that work for us as women. We have knowledge that's passed down through our society, and we have an awareness of how our bodies work. I think that one of the biggest challenges that women face is the disconnect between their mind and their body. And so what's happened, and what's really caused, I feel like, a large part of the problem in productivity, specifically for women, is that we have disconnected from the fact that we are communal. We've disconnected from the fact that we are cyclical. We've disconnected from listening to our bodies and our, and so we have this like, oh, well, the productivity book said do this, but that doesn't work for me. But if I listen to what my body is saying, I can get connected to, oh, okay, this works for me. When I do this, my body feels right. My body feels like it can create, and I can then create and produce. And so productivity systems for women actually operate on a cyclical basis, that you're not going to get away from this. You, like, if you do, you are truly going against the natural order of things in a way that's going to make it very, very difficult for you to get the result that you're looking for. But the more you tune into those cycles and the natural way that your body moves and exists in this world, then you will see your productivity just expand. You and I have a common friend who would take a nap and make money. Like, whenever she would lay down to sleep, because that was her natural way of doing things, she would wake up having made money. And it was like clockwork that it would work out that way. But if you look at any productivity book, it's going to say, like, oh, can't you just get up? Can't you just wake up a few minutes earlier to use that quiet time in the house and and get things done. Who needs sleep anyway? I mean, we can do that when we're dead, right? We'll have plenty of time for sleeping. But this example, and yes, it's anecdotal, it's one friend, who listens to her body and says, wow, I am feeling very tired. I'm feeling like I need to reset and refresh. And when she would do that, her result was creation. And that was a creation of income. So my question for you listeners is there something your body is telling you right now that you are ignoring for the sake of productivity? But if you leaned into it, if you listened to what your body was saying, could there be a possibility of greater productivity than you are even imagining at this particular moment?
Yeah. And for my men and masculine women listening in, this whole talk about listening to your body is gibberish to you, and I love you. So to instead of mansplain, let me translate. How do you say? um, Another way of saying what we're trying to communicate right now is, how many times have you burnt the candle at both ends to be as effective and productive and crush it as much as possible, only to burn out? Burnout such as, okay, give an example. A client of mine come to one of my retreats, wanted to get as much done on the break as possible, ended up breaking her foot because she wanted to like go for roller skating and paddle boarding and carry everything at the same time up the dock and not let anyone help her. Okay, highly productive, highly destructive. Like, does being highly productive have to be at the expense of your health? Do you have to exchange your sleep for dollars, your vacation for dollars, your marriage for dollars, your relationship with your kids if you decide to have kids for dollars? Or how about if you don't decide to have kids, your relationship with your friends and everybody else? Why is entrepreneurship or leadership producing loneliness and isolation in you?
Mhm.
Why is that causing you to be less and less fulfilled and connected and more drained? So to those who are listening, if that's the problem that you're having, it's because you're doing it the wrong way. You're going hard and you're giving it your all. You're just doing that in the wrong direction. We want to turn you around a bit and give you an example of, okay, one of the ways that you might be doing productivity the wrong way is with zero bodily health awareness. I got to answer all the emails. I got to post all the times. I got to go to all the meetings. I got to accept all of the clients, all of them at any time of day or night. I gotta do it all because I gotta be like what's the face on TikTok screaming and cussing about how you grinding and hustle hard is how to do it with love that's coming from a masculine hunter mindset. Whereas when we're looking how to produce like a woman, it's actually closer to, instead of hunter gatherer, you're transitioning to more of farmer agricultural mindset. We need a whole agricultural revolution around how you manage the resource, the limited resource of you.
And I would even throw in here, even in that hunter-gatherer metaphor or paradigm that you've talked about, you're not hunting and gathering all day, every day, 365 days a year. You will hunt. It might take a couple of weeks to get all of the resources that you are trying to provide to the tribe. And then there will be feasting and there will be a cycle of, the hunt has come in, there's celebration, there's eating, there's resting before going out to do it again. So even in that example, we still are not always on. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about productivity. There's no part of this that does not give you a time for rest. And when you have that rest, you will notice that your brain fog eases up, your energy levels increase, your clarity and your accuracy increase. You may be familiar with Pareto's principle, which says that, actually, this isn't what I wanted to share, but Pareto's principle says that 80% of your outcomes come from 20% of your inputs. And that is true, right? So if we look at that, we don't have to be on 100% of the time, because there's a whole bunch of what we're doing that's not actually getting us the result. However, what I really meant to share was the law of diminishing returns.
Oh, yes.
You get to a point where you are getting less and less and less out of every minute that you put into what you're doing. And so if you're noticing that for yourself, like, oh, I'm just going to push through, I'm going to work super late tonight and get this done, you're going to get to 8, 9 o'clock at night, and now something that took you a minute before now takes you 2 minutes. That's twice as long. It's probably even worse than that. It could be 3 or 4 minutes for something that took you a minute, and you're getting distracted by email, you're getting distracted by YouTube. And if you literally just went to bed, you would get a much better result to get up and get it done in the time that is the smallest amount of time that it could take you to do that. And now we're highly productive, right? The inputs are the productivity of output over input is at its highest level, right?
Well, so here's the thing. That's fueled by sunk cost bias. And because this is part 1 of 2, I'm not going to say what that means. Tune in next week to find out how managing your sunk cost bias as a woman leader is the key to stop working like a man and producing like a woman. We are sending you so much love. This is episode 23 of the Wake Up Women Leaders podcast. Holy moly, if you made it to the end of this episode, like, share, subscribe, tell the algorithm angels that this was awesome, and share it with a friend. And we will see you on the next one. Bye for now.